It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Hi guys, good afternoon. 15th of May, 2 minutes past 2. That's nice. CET time. Piotr here, and we are going to cover New York Open. We are going to cover live here on Liteforex Global YouTube channel. That's my pleasure. Let's start quickly with risk warning. Please bear in mind trading FX on margin. Trading crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all your initial investments, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. All right, so let's have a look what we have on the charts. Just update right before we start our meeting. Once we were falling with retest over here on Euro Pound, I took short. Stop is a little bit wider. I'm looking to lower it down, but I would like to see the move below today's low. Hopefully we can get there, and I will update. Looks like I've been looking to short euro dollar. I've been looking to short euro yen, and to be honest with you, it's my fault. I've been short euro dollar, actually not based on the supply demand, based on the breakdown on a very small time frame. Yeah, it was too scary, so yeah, took 1 or 2 pips when the market was turning around, but also was short pound and would been stopped out without the runaway again with 2 or 3 pips. So yes, the truth is that I missed, especially I missed the yen crosses. The move is on the yen side, and honestly, I have to say, I have to be frank here. Yeah, that's my fault that I missed this yen. I did recognize it a little bit too late, right? Anyway, it might be very interesting afternoon for us, especially that we are going to look for a market from the intraday perspective. So that's good, right? We are going to have probably the opportunity to try to join the market during the New York session. What I'm talking about, saying that it's gonna be interesting, we are waiting for Canadian CPI as well as for US retail sales and Empire State Manufacturing Index within the next 25 minutes. Then 3:15 p.m. CET, capacity utilization rate and industrial production out of US, and finally at 4 business inventories and housing index. 4:30 p.m. CET, we are going to get official EA crude oil inventories. After yesterday API, market went a little bit lower. So just to have everything in one place, let me put it this API for you. Just 1 second. Come on. Okay. Just 1 second. We are not gonna do anything ahead of the data. It's good that I have euro pound. It's not related to the upcoming data, so hopefully, yeah, that's better. So you have the data from yesterday. So what we are going to look for? We are going to look for USDCAD. It might be that I'm going to switch to pound Canadian, for example, or Canadian yen. But I would prefer to get back into the yen once the US is open. I don't think that we are done with the higher prices on Nasdaq, for example, right? It's just the intraday supply we drew yesterday, so there are a few more stops, which I think might be taken out. So what we are doing right now, probably we are going to make this retest over here of this lower band of that channel, falling channel, and we may see a little bit higher prices towards 7,500, 7,510. That's what we discussed, and it's what based on the daily, and then eventually tomorrow and Friday negative. We'll see. I think that we either going to retest Monday low, or we are going to take the stops under this week low, right? To have it same here, then rally, and then when everyone is tired, then finally when everyone will turn bullish, we will move to the downside. Okay, most probably. That's a little bit of the joke. Checking the news services. So we are going to get back into the Nasdaq once the cash market will be open. The first thing first, American dollar versus Canadian dollar, and yeah, last week we got very good number from Canadian job market, right? It was like Friday sell-off, but then we gap up on Monday, we never look back, and we are again around the top of this level. What is important in my opinion here, okay, that even if that was the range, so we holding 50% of that range where there was the latest demand, which helped us to run away, right? And we are trying to hold twice. We tested this demand, we hold, right? Of course we have a problem over here, but I think, right, that we are within the good or on the way towards this supply, right? Or even towards, if we are going to take the out of the range, even towards the some stops, right? But this one is based on what happened here, right? So if we are not going to hold, I will change the color a bit. If we are not going to hold this line supply, right? I'm almost sure we are going to take out these stops. We will run towards 38, and that may open the way, right? That may open the way towards 140. Is better visible from the weekly. There you go. And that was, we were close. Strong move to the downside. It looks like market is going to ask for these stops based on the weekly, if everything will go fine here. So trying to summarize Canadian dollar, probably as long as we are on a daily basis, daily close above 33.50, 33.20 on a daily basis, we are good to go higher. From this week price action, we need to hold above the weekly open. That's what we need, right? There's a nice tweezer bottom over here. Market is trying to create nice tweezer bottom over here. It's related, as you can see in a second, to that breakout out of that range. Anyway, after the consolidation, breakout, next consolidation, and yeah, there is an attempt to fade when market is trying to rally, right? Upper shadows, but the rejections are not that big, right? That's the thing. So switching lower to 1 hour chart, and then even lower to try to check what might be the action after the data. What is important, we have to take into the consideration the thing happened last Friday after very good Canadian job market, right? And we're trying to break higher, we're trying to break lower, we are consolidating, right? But market was managed to take out this pre-Canadian job market data. The high was taken out, right? If we are going to get combination of disappointing Canadian number and quite good US numbers, we might see the rally. What kind of the rally in that case we might see? If we are talking about breaking that latest range, right? So we have to take into the consideration what? 100 pips, right? So we are talking about something around 35.80, 36 on the Canadian dollar. So let's switch lower. What I would like to see, what I would like to see after the Canadian data, maybe attempt to take some stops, maybe to try to retest this supply before we break through, right? With turnaround and based on the 1 minute or 5 minute charts, to trying to take the advantage of the reversal, right? So we see, and yeah, retest of this, so bottom of this green zone, so bottom of this zone based on the daily as well, right? So let's try to move it lower with the reversal. That's what I'm looking for on the Canadian dollar. We'll switch lower later on. I don't like this price action on the euro pound here right now. I think it's time to go a little bit lower. $86.80 is a daily open here on that chart. and we are crossing this. I thought that once we broke through, it's a good idea to try to sell it on retest. The stop is a little bit wider because I think that we might see attempt to try eventually to take a little bit more stops, right? So let's remove this one. And so that's the key, to take out this today's low and to try to fight New York open from yesterday. All right. One can ask if that I'm trying to trade two weakest. Yeah, it's a bit of true. I missed, as I mentioned at the very beginning, I missed euro dollar. I've been a little bit too scary on euro JPY, but still think that euro might be a little bit weaker because of Italy, because of the US auto tariffs. So yeah. Of course, pound is under the Brexit-related news. It might be under pressure or might suddenly skyfly if there is any positive comment. So that was one of the reasons. Anyway, during this New York session, I'm going to try to take the advantage of the euro dollar and euro yen eventually if the sentiment will worsen, then yeah. And the thing is, so we know what I'm going to do with, or at least what I'm going to try to do after the Canadian data, all right? So let's leave it as it is here. The thing is with euro dollar, all right? There are every 10-15 pips there is a quite important level we were discussing yesterday, right? So for now, if you remember morning meeting, if not, then just revisit the archive on the Global Liteforex YouTube channel and check the morning meeting. The zone over here, right? It's in between Monday low and weekly open, and that's what we discussed. And here is the candle, the particular one where when bulls were trying to get back above weekly open yesterday, and where they failed, right? And to be honest with you, taking into the consideration what's happened late New York, Asia, Europe, late Asia, beginning of the Europe, I thought that this stop count will bring us at least towards the Monday low. It unfortunately didn't happen. So then I was trying to trade this breakdown, but market was bouncing. So when I saw that it's bouncing again, especially it was based, it was like, you know, my approach was trying to somehow manage the short right at the intraday demand, right? So when I saw the market is going back, I had a few pips, market started to going back against me. I mean, still below the entry, I cut this short, right? And then, boom, finally we broke through. So now, what was supposed to work as demand, and actually it's morning were good, I'm going to remove the lower shadow. I'm not with selling. I'm not interested with lower shadow. I'm interested with upper shadow. All right. So what I'm gonna to do right now, that's possible supply right now. All right. So I think, especially with this broken lower line, where we were talking about the line yesterday. All right. So I think the rally back towards 12 might be the first attempt to get to try to get and trade short side. We will see. I'm going to watch on a smaller time frame. Otherwise, still we might look for these stops above today's high towards weekly open. Overall, next supply zone around 1220, 1230 on the euro dollar, right? And the pound is holding around 28.80, and that's the latest line we were discussing yesterday, right? So after our meeting, we went lower, we tested 29.10, a little bit of the bounce, moved down, lower shadow, 28.95, rally, boom, suddenly breakthrough, and testing. Why this latest line, right? Why? Because that's where we saw the latest weakness intraday, lower low and jump higher. Of course, it was tested 26th of April, but since that happened, we saw just rally on the cable, right? The negative thing is that retail, ooh, I don't like this cable action here because of this, yeah. I'm going to watch, and if we are going to go higher and close above, I may not want to wait for my stop to be cleaned. I may decide to cut this earlier. Something is going on with the pound. Let's have a look what we have on the news side. It might be a little bit too late, or maybe it's just the stop run, the latest stop run. It might be. Okay, that might be the news. One second. I have to do that different way. Okay. Looks like there is a still gap between the labor and the government. It's a UK Labour Party spokesman. We have made it clear we cannot support Brexit legislation without an agreement. There was a little bit. There was a joke going on yesterday on Twitter that Corbyn may back Theresa May Brexit plan if she allow him to be prime minister at least for a few minutes. So then he can back her Brexit deal. But of course that was as a joke, right? And we have 6 minutes US data. We'll see. The expectations are a little bit low. Yeah, I need this upper shadow, otherwise, yeah, I may decide to run away. So we are going to watch how to do this. in a proper way. Going back to euro dollar, that every 10 pips is a quite important level, and from a daily perspective, right, we are testing another important level, right? If we are going to take the consideration, not last one, but the previous, as far as I remember, ECB meeting and the low over here, right? So it might be some kind over under trade. Okay, we already tested this over here, right? So, and there is a reaction, right? There was a previously it was a reaction 15 pips higher, also based on the daily chart. Plenty of small levels, mostly because of this, mostly because of the range is going on still, and the range is getting narrower and narrower, and I don't like it. Not good. Less than 3 minutes. Right. So yes, I'm going to watch eventually price action on the euro dollar around 112, and then again 1220, 1230 if seen. I'm cutting this euro pound because we might see the pound falling towards 35, where the possible demand based on daily green. So the stops, that's what we discussed. That's a little bit of mistake on my side. Unfortunately, I have to be frank. I don't like it. So yeah. We'll see. What market is expecting? Weaker Canadian inflation, as well as weaker US retail sales and weaker Empire State Manufacturing Index. So watch out for bounce. Watching Canadian and euro dollar for now. It might be that we are going to see this, what we were talking about, stop count and a little bit lower level than. All right, euro trying to bounce 1190 only as of now. And here is what I like, USDCAD. I can always reopen, right? So what we have Empire State Manufacturing Index. Big beat. Big beat. We do have retail sales weaker than what market was expecting month to month, and ex-autos also much weaker. So yeah, it's like Empire State Manufacturing versus retail sales. On the Canadian front, it's not that bad, but Canadian dollar is weakening anyway. Jeez, what a mess. I don't think on euro dollar the low is in already. No way. Very important what is going to happen here from intraday perspective on Nasdaq. Jeez. Well. Euro JPY. So important day. If we are done and close below 120 first target, then 115. Very interesting what is going on pound side. So let's have a look. Let's the yen crosses. Oh, shit. That's gonna be interesting on pound CAD as well. But what we need the bigger picture here. the bottom of the broken range, as you can see over here. That might be interesting here. Of course, this Niagara Fall doesn't look great. At least towards 7380. Here is a problem probably. So what do we have on hourly? All right, so in 15 minutes we working with this supply. The next one is towards 74. $92 for now on euro dollar. Jeez. Let's give them time. Pound is breaking, euro is pulling back. As I mentioned, I don't think low is in on euro dollar, at least not yet. Here is the key, number one. Nasdaq, very important level from intraday perspective, at least for now. We might see attempt to bounce higher, right? And to see higher levels. We are going to discuss Nasdaq during the second part of our meeting. Here is the key point number two. I'm talking about the dollar Chinese yuan. That we're talking about. So I think that the sentiment may worsen if we are going to cross through that level, and looks like it's rather question not if but when. Euro on 5-minute chart creating very nice pattern with the possibility to go higher. The 112 is a top, and then 1220, 1230. We'll see. Anyway, we are approaching the first break. There was plenty of data around, so let's give them some time. The big guys have to decide whatever they want to do, not me or you. It's their decision. So we are going for a short break, but the charts are staying with us. I'm going to be back around the top of the hour. Enjoy the break.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, It's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you. It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Welcome back. This is the second part of our today meeting. Piotr here, and this is the New York live market coverage on Global Liteforex YouTube channel. We are get back after the break. The risk is trying to recover. So still no new high on dollar, Chinese yuan, and a little bit of bounce of around 50 points on Nasdaq. Of course, there is a long way here, but we are getting 29 minutes to US Open, and we are going to have a look on the Nasdaq within the next 20 minutes or so. So let's have a look what we have on other charts, right? So let's start with euro dollar. Based on the daily, we are fighting with post ECB, but the not last one, the previous one. We are fighting with this low over here. We previously, on the 9th of May, right, we already tested this level after the move higher, lower shadow, but then rally of that level, right? So it's a key. But also what we discussed last few days, we also discussed the range. We also discussed the range, and I'm talking about the post FOMC high, which was rejected at the very beginning of this week, okay, and post non-farm payrolls low. So if we are gonna to give up this ECB, not last one, but the previous one, the one before low, then the NFP low might be in play this low on euro dollar, and bears may try to break 111 towards 110. Okay, that's how the things looks like. So based on what we've seen within last 2-3 days during the morning meeting, we set up the possible supply, which unfortunately has not been tested yet, right? I'm not gonna be surprised if we are gonna to make the run to the upside and end the day lower. Okay, so from a little bit higher time perspective, still patience is a key here. Intraday, this early chart, as long as we hold the low, we really might to try to go a little bit higher here on euro dollar, and that's the similar stuff what we have on 15 minutes on the pound Canadian. So as long as this low holds, the whole yellow zone, we might see attempt to rally. The supply is higher towards 74.20 on the GBPUSD, right? But would be careful, as the risk is trying to recover a bit towards the New York Open. So we might see attempt to break lower and then eventually lower shadow. We will see. I'm going to observe. 15 minutes doesn't look good on euro dollar. Pound. from the daily perspective, so we are starting again from the higher time frame, right? Possible demand. So this swing low over here, which we were expecting is gonna be targeted, it really is, right? So we might see after this stop count possible demand, and we might see attempt to bounce higher, right? Doesn't look great from the early perspective, and eventually if we are going to see the bounce higher from 2850, 2840, the range here from the low London open over here, the bottom of that range as the first supply, that's the breakdown level here from the intraday perspective. But we have a little bit better levels higher towards the weekly open. That's what we discussed. During the morning meeting. Okay. I'm gonna skip the dollar yen. It looks like we are ranging right now in between 109, 109.75. But if we are going to see the recovery over here with risk, right? Very interesting stuff is on the pound yen. Very interesting stuff is on the pound yen. And I like this one very much. So, going back to daily, that's what we discussed 2 days ago or 3 days ago. We have this weakness from the very beginning of 2019, the flash crash, right? Then we saw strong rally. Okay? And we were discussing this lows from the February over here, that there might be stop count of these levels, and looks like the stops are done. That's for sure. But remember from this daily chart, we've got this full green place where markets showed the weakness last time, right? The whole zone may work as possible demand. We have a little bit of the lower shadow. Now we are going to fight. It's not going to be visible here. We are going to fight with this low. I'm talking about 22nd of January, and I'm talking about 15th of February, right? If we are going to manage to close the day above, we might see attempt to rally, and we were discussing where the rally, how high it might go, at least towards 43.75. So it's worth to watch. It's worth to watch as well, in my opinion. Pound yen, right? Here is a supply based on 15-minute chart. Even oil is trying to recover. Just a reminder, within next 1 hour 20 minutes, official EEA oil inventories. So yeah, I do expect rally, and I'm going to watch the top of that yellow range. I'm going to watch how they want to behave here, right? It might help here with pound Canadian to break lower, right? But again, here we are approaching possible demand as well, right? So it's worth to watch. Of course, this upper shadow doesn't look great. Well, we will see. We will see. There is a little bit of the space here on euro dollar. As I mentioned, I might be wrong, but I think it's not the latest word from the bears. It might be attempt to go lower. We didn't hit 76, 75 yet. So on one hand, yes, from the intraday perspective, I would like to buy some dollars, but with euro, I would like to sell a little bit higher, with pound much higher. I'm at least not for now. I'm not interested with dollar yen right now yet. Let's give them some time. Same as on euro dollar, I don't think there's yet this double bottom on this 15-minute chart on the pound. It's like invitation to hit more stops. For pound to catch the breath, we need above 28.75. And we had like, yeah, 1 hour ahead of the New York Open, and the first hour of New York Open we had some fireworks and it's getting quiet. But guys, news alert, less than 2 minutes, capacity utilization rate and industrial production. Latest Angela Merkel. Fifteen seconds. Much weaker industrial production, lower capacity utilization rate. So there you go. That's not gonna help yet. When we are talking about the risk. So let's have a look what we have here. On the Nasdaq, looks like we are getting lower and lower. It might be that this bottom of the channel we're discussing, it's not gonna work out. So let's get back to the plan from the daily, what we discussed. Either we are going to retest Monday low, right? Or we are going to hit the stops of this weekly low and then reversal, trying to retest 7,500, because this Monday high, I think it's gonna be retested, right? To get something similar to what we have over here, right? To create some kind of the... I might be totally wrong, might miss that trade, but I'm waiting for higher levels here, right? To try to fade it. So again, if you are a bear, you wanna see a little bit higher levels, or you wanna see the daily close below that low, right? Opening high from the 8th of March and the high from the 7th of March over here, right? So you may want to wait, retest, and so yeah, I don't want to have the exposure here yet. And euro is trying to recover. That's what we discussed based on the hourly chart. Let's have a look if there is any chance to try to join that party somehow. So we hit that supply, that's the latest. Okay, could make sense. Could make sense, we'll see. What we can get here. So on the 30-minute chart, meaning that we want to retest something here or to go even lower, right? So looks like this intraday supply we discovered yesterday, of course before that happened, so I provided this supply and we discussed it earlier today well in advance, right? Looks like it's working well. So let's discover possible demand where at least something may happen for a second. So, and we have a stops below 7335, so 7-8 pips or so. Looks like I was wrong, but still, even if I'm going to join the party, the stop will going to be very, very tight. I don't believe we have a low in yet. Okay, so pound arriving this possible demand based on the daily. Of course, it's not automatically the buy level, but it's worth to watch reaction here. The 15 minutes, it's higher towards 12, top of that range, what we discussed already. Almost to the pip pound, at least for now. Again, let's have a look what we have. So what was this ECB low? 76, 77, 1 pip, let's say. Yeah, it's possible. On the hourly, the low here, 1198, 112, that's the supply, that's, yeah. And the dollar yen trying to hold this demand. We went higher from. We don't need that channel anymore. Yeah, so we know where the stops are. If they survive towards the cash open, they are gonna to be taken out right after probably. So let's place one line here. So we know where we are from the Nasdaq perspective. Let's have a look what we have in Europe, especially DAX. Might be very interesting with this US auto tariffs. It's a very similar situation to what we have with Nasdaq. It's a very important level. Pound is weakening further. Probably we are targeting some stops above 87.20 on euro pound. I'm not using 4-hour chart very often. But it might be like we wanna over under here. We'll see. Looks interesting. So going back to DAX, right? That looks like it might be the key level, and if we are going to break through the latest weakness over here, that's what we were discussing yesterday as well, might be targeted. So we are talking about this, right? Levels over here. Let's get back to Nasdaq as the US cash market is open. So immediately attempt to rally. That's the low for now. That's the high for now. And that's the cash open for now. So what I think, the close of the day probably will depend on what we are going to see right now. If we are going to see attempt to rally higher, right, we may try to take out daily open, pre-market, yesterday close, rally higher, right? Let's have a look. What do we have? If that was the rally, and let's say that's the bottom around current level, we might see this 7,500 level. We might see that level. And if we see the rally right now, I wouldn't be surprised we are going to see the rejection during the second part of the US session, and eventually upper shadow and getting back below the daily open, and then attempt to break tomorrow or Friday. If we are going to go lower from here, either towards Monday low, or we are going to make new weekly low, but we are going to hold 7,260 or 7,210, right? And we are going to make the lower shadow, especially going back above current weekly low, right? Then there might be attempt to trying to hold stock for attempt to rally even higher towards this over under around 7,690, right? That's what we discussed. So my opinion, very interesting day. We'll see. Let's watch. So we made lower low and we made higher high within the first 5-minute range. Where is pound? Pound is approaching this level here. Let's make it a little bit bolder for you to see. Looks like market wants higher after the open. So we took out these stops probably. Yes, we took them out. So today, first 5-minute range, 27 points. That's almost double what we've seen yesterday, right? And Euro is trying, guys. Euro is trying. only thing, yeah, I miss here that we didn't make it lower a bit. Just a reminder, there is a business inventories and housing market index out of US at the top of the hour, and then 4:30 p.m. CET we do have official EA crude oil inventories. So looks like the first algos are set up to buy right now. That's gonna be interesting, especially from this pound yen. Euro yen already broke through. So right now the supply is around 22.60. We'll see. Looks like range intact. Very interesting what's going to happen around here if seen. We are talking about 109.40. It looks like it's a range. 109, 109.75.80, at least for now. Swing low creation, attempt to create swing low here. Anyway, the second part of our meeting is getting to the end. So the last break today, just the friendly reminder, we do have a meeting tomorrow and we are going to cover New York Open. So we are going to have a meeting at 2 p.m. CET again tomorrow. Right now we are going for a break, and around the top of the hour after US data, we are going to try to summarize. We are going to prepare the plan for the second part of the US session. So enjoy the break, and I'll be back around the top of the hour.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Welcome back. It's our third and last part of today's meeting. I'm watching pound carefully and looks like on the hourly here versus the dollar is a little bit overdone, especially approaching this very nice level here. What I'm going to look for, I'm not saying I'm gonna to trade the pound, but once we are gonna to see attempt to go lower, but ending with lower shadow and above this level, right? I may try to trade pound CAD, or even try to trade pound yen. From pound yen perspective, right, we are also in very important level. I think that at some point we may try to create some swing low over here, or a little bit lower. So that's not gonna be huge risk over here. Watching. Of course, with pound yen, we need stronger rally, so we need this scenario with the rise towards 7,500, right? So we don't need lower low. We need this scenario. We discussed it as a scenario number one. Rally from yesterday, early pullback, and 121 and 7,500. That's what we want to see here. If you remember, we had a similar situation when the dollar Swiss franc was temporarily overdone. I'm going to try to find it for you. When it was before my break, but it was maybe on daily. No. What was it? When it was? I don't remember now, but we had a similar situation with dollar Swiss franc. Yeah. Anyway, I think that there is a possibility at some point we might see cable higher. So I'm going to watch pound CAD. I'm going to watch pound yen. Pound CAD That's what we discussed at the very beginning, the place where we are. We took out some stops. Of course, right now would be great to get any positive Brexit related news. That would be amazing. All right, let's try to summarize. So, everywhere on the pound, we are approaching, or we are already at a very important level. So let's start with pound CAD again. Looking to buy based on this zone, unfortunately close, because we have to be aware where we are, right? That's the zone here. It's a little bit wide, right? So it might be smarter to wait a little bit or try to navigate via smaller time frame, right? We have something similar here, 3 strong falling candles, right? Just the reminder in regards to the Canadian dollar, we do have this EEA, and we have a possibility to see a little bit of the relief rally on oil based on this range we've seen here. So it might be a little bit positive from the CAD perspective, right? So still we might see a little bit lower level here. But the overall the most important thing is in relation to this zone on the pound USD, right? So we want to see a little bit of relief rally as pound is as the dollar is the strong in line with the yen, right? So similar here with pound yen. So overall, for now, almost each pair with pound testing important levels, right? It might be that I'm going to get back to euro pound again. Okay, taking into the consideration where we are. So again, what I would like to see here, a little bit of the upper shadow, some stop count, and then I'm going to try to fade. If gonna see the upper shadow, I'm going to explain. I'm going to try to trade back towards 86.50. What I'm talking about, I'm going to switch to lower time frame like hourly, and for example within this candle or the next one, I want to see upper shadow and the close below the line. Probably I'm gonna to join short side here as well. All right, so yeah, I'm going to focus on pound mostly. Now euro dollar, on the one hand we are trying to hold this ECB low, the one before ECB, the meeting one before the last one. That's the correct one. We're trying to hold. There is an attempt to rally, but 12 is a key level from the intraday perspective right now. Upper shadow. It was quite good for some time, but I don't like this upper shadow. So watching 112 on euro, and if we fail here and the pound will try to hold 28.30, that might be the positive from the euro pound perspective as well. So flat on euro dollar at least for now. All right, dollar yen range, I think at some point maybe closer to the London, we are going maybe to retest 109.15, and depends on the price action. Depends on the price action on indices, depends on the overall sentiment. I may think eventually from the intraday perspective, but I would prefer, as I mentioned, I would prefer probably pound yen, for example, right? In that case. Now, if we are talking about the yen, much weaker here from the higher time frame perspective, we are on the euro yen, right? So it's all about daily close. That's what we discussed earlier today. So here again, probably step back, wait for a daily close, right? On the other hand, if you are going to see relief rally on the indices during this part of the New York session, I'm talking about the pre-launch cash market, right? But we are going to fail around 122.60, 122.75, right? Somewhere here on this rally back, it might be we are going to see much lower levels toward the end of the day, right? Both euro dollar and euro yen, for example. Okay, that's what I'm looking for with crude. Is a range. I'm looking to fade, attempt to move higher towards the top of that range. And if we were talking about the pound CAD, we also have to get back to USDCAD, as we are still holding or trying to hold above the high after the, pre-Canadian job market high from the last Friday. So we are above. The move to the downside was strong. We are trying to hold. Maybe after the crude data, there are going to be attempt to break higher, right? And there is a significant potential. So I'm going to watch. The thing is, from the dollar perspective, the data not necessarily support, but probably more about the sentiment here. Okay. So watching pound, and I'm close to think about the some contrary attempt to trade long side on the pound. That's the one thing. Euro dollar, euro yen. Watching what's going to happen towards the end of the day. Right. Dollar yen range right now 109.75, 80. Well, probably that's it. And here Nasdaq again, based on what we discussed, it might be that we are going to end up like this, and then it's gonna be attempt to go higher by tomorrow, right? And then rejection toward the end of the week. That might happen as well. Okay. So very carefully here. I owe you guys latest US data, right? It's time for pound to start. Some guys should start to take profits soon. Ooh, what's that? What the heck? What's this? Whole risk is going on. I'm looking for Nunchin. A lot of work to do in China. Traders will likely to go binging at some point. There you go. There you go. Now the thing is, whoa. Pound looks the worst one. Pound yen looks good. Strong move above 60 on the euro yen, and that's gonna tell us something. Be careful, guys, here. Trying to fade this one right now. That was strong. Holy Maloney. So the stops here, probably we are going to target, so 7,500. But guys, it might turn out that we are going to play the second scenario with the rise towards 7,690. Jeez, what a mess. There's another one, so it's like the massive manipulation from the Washington administration. Mnuchin about the China, President Trump about the auto tariffs. Massive manipulation from the Washington administration is going on right now. Be careful, because if market is going to fade that, wow. Well, didn't I tell you? That's of course it's me. I missed that one. Didn't I tell you that somehow we are going to get there? Holy maloney! Look for retest of 1190. If that holds, what the action! So now, with test of 40.50, might be rebuy here if you are already in. Oh! That was good action. That was good action. So let's get back for a second to Euro Pound, because now I'm watching hourly and I'm watching what's going to happen at the end of the hourly chart. All right? Massive administration action, Washington administration action. So we gee. So that might be midweek reversal, guys. That might be midweek reversal. Interesting. So I'm still a fan of the pound, but this time versus yen and dollar. Jeez. So we might see massive squeeze at some point. If that's going to happen, you wanna watch yen crosses. It might be that towards the fixing in Europe, it's gonna be more bumpy. A little bit to the upside, a little bit to the downside. Few stops here, few stops there. But once the US guys are going to stay alone with lower liquidity, we might get higher volatility. So if you are gonna be around after the after the launch in US, it might be worth to watch the market. So nothing has changed. I'm still watching pound. The only changes is inside that I'm going to watch pound USD and pound yen right now. Euro dollar is testing strong supply, but at least one more attempt to go higher towards the weekly open. But once we are going to go higher, guys, it might be midweek reversal. So if that's going to happen, we might see massive move. But as long as we are below, you have to watch carefully. But you don't want to fade the first move. It should be attempt to break a little bit higher. And the pound trying. If we are going to hold next 15 minutes, it's still 6 minutes above 64, what we discussed. I may try to decide to this time break higher, right? The only thing I'm afraid of is this supply under the 41.25. That's what I'm afraid of, right? That's not gonna be monster from the risk reward perspective. Wow. Look for swings on the higher time frame then. There is nothing is gonna to explain to be in rush here, alright guys? Because it's the first, once you are in a rush, then that's the first step to make the mistake and to make the failure. No rush. Wait, and better to wait on higher time frame this time. Anyway, watch out the oil data, watch out GBPUSD and overall Canadian dollar. Watch out also how the US dollar is going to behave. Midweek turnaround, might be. Anyway, guys, we are getting closer to the end of our meeting today. Plenty of stuff might happen, so I'm going to make an update, no worries. You are going to be updated tomorrow. We are going to discuss what happened later during the day. Just a reminder, we do have a meeting tomorrow, only one meeting tomorrow, and we are going to cover New York Open. So you are more than welcome to join me tomorrow at 2 p.m. CET. They don't want to wait on the pound yen. Jeez, they are in rush. Nice swing low. So then I'm going to still watch this 64 and 50. 50 might be the key here. That's the latest supply on the hourly. I don't think so. It's gonna be key reversal day, but few pips to the upside possible we are going to see. And within the next few minutes you're going to get official EA oil inventories, so watch out oil and CAD as well. Guys, that was my pleasure. Unfortunately, compared to what we had when we were trading short side of dollar yen today, only thing you saw it was my failure on euro pound, but looks like we might have a chance or more chances over the course of the rest of the day. Be careful, don't chase the market, don't be in rush, don't be trapped. In that case, at some point market may want to fade this pump from Washington administration, so be careful out there. Anyway, have a great rest of the day. That was my pleasure again. See you tomorrow. Have a good one. Goodbye.